Florian, I watched that movie again. I watched it when I started talking with Annika about our past and joining forces, sort of, with people in power. And so that movie touched my heart first with Annika because she's the one who went out with her dad to get that dog, and talked about that a little bit. And then in that movie, there's also a little boy. He's telling the story actually, and I thought he had like how should I say, like a game going project in school where they had to talk about their heroes, and so this dog I'm sorry was his hero because this dog was so close to his grandpa, and his grandpa died when he was only 1 year old. Well, your grandpa died when, how old were you, like 6 or something? 92, you were 85, you were 7. 6. Well, almost 7. So anyway, how about we play that game too, so I'll tell you who my hero is. Well, Florian, you're my hero. Because you're my dream man. you're my dream boy, my dream child. You were the child that was just there, and you were love personified, and you taught me what love is, and you was there for me, and I thought I was there for you too, and yet it was so hard for me to be me that I had a hard time being your mom, because there were these issues with your dad, and I made notes here now, and I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because I don't want to knock on your dad all the time. So I will explain a little bit about your dad and me before I go on with us. How about that? So your dad is the kind of guy that grew up with a very controlling mother. And that's the kind of partner he's looking for. And there's nothing wrong with that. He doesn't need to change if that's what he loves. Only I'm not that kind of a woman. I'm not controlling. I never was. I never will be. I felt very uncomfortable being pushed into that role, and I lost myself because that's not me. I'm sensitive. I'm loving. I'm caring. I'm giving. I'm out there. So, and I couldn't be that person with your dad, and so let me just see if I the notes that I made here. So from what you told me about his partner now, and I read that they're married, so that's fine. It's wonderful. And I know that you and Annika, you were always so afraid that I might get hurt if I find out about his relationship with Barbara, and I don't know if he's married to Barbara now, and good for him. It's great. I'm disconnected from this. So how would I'm divorced from this man, and why would I be hurt? And I did wonder a little bit. He told me everything was fine, and then 3 weeks after I left home, Patrice, I think was her name. He was very close with her and stayed there overnight, and 3 weeks after I moved out, and everything was wonderful. So I find that hard to believe. There were things going on while we were married. Now, I never had a relationship with anyone. The only thing that I did have, and I will admit to that, I went on this scuba diving trip and met a man from Utah, and Craig was his name, Craig Doxey, and I was miserable when I went on that trip. That's why I was looking. I was searching for something. I was looking for love, and I said that to Mr. Marano. Remember that? Steve Marano, he came over one day and picked up Nick and I think Amanda. They were both there, and he just asked me while you were still playing. He said, well, what are you actually looking for? Because he too was searching at the time, and you know, I was surprised at myself. You know, it just popped out without thinking. I said love. So then he told me, well, you know what? All you need to do is just be. And I thought, you know, what an idiot. Just be. Well, great. And so if I just am, I sit here and I am. Great. You know, I didn't know what he meant by that. But I do now, because I now am. You know, and I know who I am, how I work, how this thing works with me, and you know, again, there's a lot that I feel I need to share, because that cannot possibly all be for me. You know, to know how this higher power is communicating with me, like everybody needs to know this, right? So this much, you know, for you to understand your dad and me. You know, I'm a different person, and I'm now the person that I always dreamed of being. I grew into myself, and I hope that you do too. And I remember you were, you know, really close with Daniela, and then you told me that Daniela told you that you don't give her enough space. Well, the paradox in that is that sometimes we blame others for something that we just don't know how to handle. So she said she didn't have enough space, or you know, when she was with you. Now you're my son, and I know that you're very giving, and you know, you don't just mean well, you do well, you are well, you are there for others, and you know, sometimes when we give more than somebody else expects, they think they get less, because suddenly they feel themselves, and they get scared, they get afraid. And this is something that you know, I may have advised you wrong, I don't know. You know, I said that Daniela doesn't deserve you, because I said that what I heard, you know, people say. Well, this is a judgment that I feel is very, very strong, and doesn't allow us to grow from that experience, you know. Daniela was not the person meant to be with you. I really believe that now. Just like your dad was, and I, you know, we get out the worst in one another, because I am different, and I don't really think, maybe in the beginning I had expectations, and then I wanted to be who I really am, and there was no room for me to do that. There really wasn't, and that, I'm not blaming him, and I'm not judging him. This is the truth. You know, and it's hard to know, you know, when is it really true, and when is it something that is just, you know, a judgment, or something like an explanation, you know, and it's for us to figure out, to feel inside which part of what anyone says is true for us and fits, and sometimes, and I do this all the time, I don't mind losing anybody, because I feel if I tell the truth and I give that other person the opportunity to grow, and if they decide they don't want to be with me, and that I don't make them feel good because they need to reflect on something, then I can only say, you know, I feel sorry for these people, because they're not willing to grow and become this happy and secure and safe and sound, and you know, standing strong with 2 feet on the ground, like I do, you know, and so you know, I did make some more notes. I have about 5 minutes time left, so there, you know, we were always close, so close that we didn't really have to say that much, and sometimes that felt uncomfortable for me, because this is a situation I remember from my dad, from, you know, growing up with my dad, and yet I felt that you were okay with that. You know, we could be together, and then sometimes you showed me something, and sometimes we just were. We just, you know, it was just you be you and me be me, and we were together, and it was good, you know, and you know, we felt close, and when you were 3 years old, you know, I had these panic attacks, and you know, you once rescued me, because you know, you went and you went for help. By the time you went for help and you came back, you know, I was fine again, but then a whole thing was set in motion, and so, you know, I needed to go through that whole process that was started then, you know, when really I needed just to sit down for a moment and feel your love and your care, you know, and I was fine again. And of course, for a 3-year-old, looking from the outside, looking back, and you know, from expectations, it's like, oh my God, this mother is using her son. Well, I think that you grew from that too, from being able to be there for me. And it was like an action kind of thing. And the reason I got these panic attacks, well, that was, you know, the tightness of money, the not talking about our financial situation, me never knowing where I stand, and having certain things that I needed to do, also following the thing, and I wasn't allowed to do this. So money was an issue. So every time I went shopping, I got panic attacks, because that's when the guilt came, and you know, it was just, I was just so aware that I didn't know where I was going when I went shopping, that you know, that's when I had the panic attacks, and I learned to live with that, you know, and I learned to accept it and say to myself, yes, all right, you know, right now it's happening, and this is how it disappeared. You know, usually they come back, they say this is a lifelong thing, right? Well, nothing is lifelong. Nothing that, you know, has anything to do with feelings or what you call, or what people call mental illness. It's all feelings, and it is not a lifelong situation, as long as you're open to learn from it, like I am. And so, you know, let's see, I have this other thing as well. I learned love from you, and from your sister I learned what love is not. And that was important too. Only it's almost like you and Annika, you became like Omi and Opi, like, you know, you were the engine and Annika was the brake. And that's all Annika was. And at least in our relationship. And she just couldn't stand this, you know, me going out of my way to find a way with her. That, I'm sorry, you know, has also something to do with the dynamics in our family. And, you know, there was a father and a mother, and we all came with stuff, and, you know, us not really being the people that were meant to be together, of course, had an effect on you. So, you know, I'm sorry that this happened, but now we're not together anymore. So I feel there's a chance to find a way with both and see, you know, or experience that one life, which you know, Michel and his wife, and I would like to invite you to also be a part of mine. Not, of course, not like your children, you're adults. You're an adult now. Annika is an adult, so hey, I have total respect for that. And so, well, there's a little bit more, and you know, time's up here for this clip. So I guess I will make one more, and then I have 5 for Annika and 5 for you, and you know, 10 is the means to me like a whole family. And so I have 10 clips, and this series is called, let me see, DIETER'S WoManITy in PaMacKiLaND. Peace starts in the family. And of course, you know, the connection is to Daimler, and I'll talk a little bit about that in the last clip to make sense of it all, I hope. So I love you, Florian, and big hugs and kisses. And I still remember that one kiss you gave me when I came from Utah, and you never did that before, and that's with me till the rest of my life. So love you.